I never thought a jacket could hold so much weight. It's been sitting in my truck since September, draped across the passenger seat like a ghost I'm not ready to let go of. Every morning when I climb into the driver's seat, I catch a whiff of his cologne mixed with autumn air and wood smoke, and for just a second, I'm back in that parking lot outside the hardware store, watching him walk away with his hands shoved in his pockets because he'd left his jacket behind. His name is Caspian. I know, right? Who names their kid Caspian? But somehow it fit him perfectly, this guy with sea glass green eyes and a smile that made me forget how to form coherent sentences. I'm Jake, by the way. Just Jake. Nothing poetic or mysterious about me. I drive a pickup truck that's seen better days. I work construction, and until September, I thought I had my life pretty much figured out. It was one of those perfect late summer days that Colorado does so well, when the aspens are just starting to turn gold and the air has that crisp edge that promises fall is coming. I'd stopped at the hardware store after work, still covered in drywall dust, just needing some screws and maybe a new utility knife. I was standing in the aisle, staring at approximately 70 different types of screws like they were written in ancient Greek, when I heard this laugh behind me. Not just any laugh. The kind that makes you turn around because you want to see what kind of person makes that sound, all genuine and unguarded and warm. And there he was, talking on his phone, running his free hand through dark hair that was just messy enough to look intentional. He was wearing this canvas jacket, sage green with worn elbows, the kind that looks like it has stories to tell. I tried not to stare, I really did, but then he caught me looking, and instead of the awkward moment I expected, he grinned and pointed at my basket full of different screw packages. "You look like you're trying to solve a murder mystery," he said, after ending his call. I laughed, probably too loud. Yeah, turns out there are like 1,000 different types of wood screws. Who knew? "What are you working on?" he asked, and just like that, we were talking. Really talking. Not the surface-level small talk you do with strangers, but actual conversation. He was renovating a cabin he'd inherited from his grandfather up in the mountains. I told him about the house flip I was working on with my buddy Marcus. We stood in that aisle for 20 minutes, and I forgot completely about the screws. His phone rang again, and he grimaced. "Work," he said. "I should probably take this. But hey, I'm actually trying to figure out some structural stuff with the cabin. You seem like you know what you're doing. Any chance you'd want to grab coffee sometime and let me pick your brain?" My heart did this stupid flip thing. "Yeah," I said, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, that sounds good." We exchanged numbers right there, thumbs fumbling with phones, and I watched him walk away with this dumb smile on my face that I couldn't wipe off. The screws took another 15 minutes to figure out because I couldn't focus on anything except the fact that I had Caspian's number in my phone. We texted that night. Just casual stuff at first. Then we met for coffee 3 days later at this place downtown that roasts their own beans and has mismatched furniture that somehow all works together. We sat in a corner booth for 4 hours. 4 hours. The baristas probably wanted to kick us out, but we just kept talking, ordering refill after refill, our knees bumping under the table. He told me about his grandfather, about how the cabin had been his refuge growing up, a place where he could escape and just be himself. I told him about dropping out of college after my dad died, about learning construction from the ground up, about how sometimes I felt like I was building other people's dreams while my own stayed in blueprint form. "What would you build?" he asked, leaning forward, his eyes intent on mine. "If you could build anything for yourself?" Nobody had ever asked me that before. "A workshop," I said slowly. "Like a real one, not just a garage full of tools, a place where I could do custom woodworking, furniture making, the kind of stuff that takes time and actually means something." "That sounds perfect," he said. And the way he looked at me, I felt seen in a way I hadn't in years. We started meeting regularly after that. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into dinner. We went to his cabin one Saturday, and I helped him figure out the load-bearing wall situation he was worried about. The place was beautiful, all pine and windows, nestled in the trees with a view of the valley that made you understand why his grandfather had chosen that spot. We worked all day, and by evening we were sitting on the porch with beers watching the sunset behind the mountains. That's when he told me about his ex, about the guy who'd made him feel like his dreams were too small, like wanting a quiet life in the mountains was somehow settling. "I spent 2 years trying to be someone I wasn't," Caspian said, peeling the label off his beer bottle. Living in the city, going to the right events, dating someone who looked good on paper but made me feel empty. When my grandfather died and left me this place, Marcus, that was his name. He couldn't understand why I'd want it. Called it a shack in the middle of nowhere. It's not a shack, I said. It's home. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and something shifted between us. The air felt charged, full of possibility. Yeah, he said softly. It is. I wanted to kiss him. God, I wanted to kiss him so badly my chest ached with it. But I was scared, terrified of reading the moment wrong, of ruining whatever this was we were building. So I didn't. I chickened out, made some excuse about needing to get back before it got too dark, and drove home kicking myself the entire way. But we kept seeing each other. September rolled in properly, the aspens turned gold and orange, and Caspian and I fell into this rhythm that felt natural as breathing. We'd meet for breakfast before work, text throughout the day, spend evenings either at his cabin or my apartment, which suddenly felt too small and too empty whenever he wasn't in it. My buddy Marcus noticed. "You're different," he said one day on the job site. "Happy different. Is this about that guy, Caspian?" I'd told Marcus I was bi years ago, back when we were both 22 and drunk on cheap beer. He'd just shrugged and said, "Cool, man, pass me another beer." That was Marcus, uncomplicated, accepting, the brother I'd chosen. "Maybe," I admitted, trying not to smile like an idiot. "So what are you waiting for?" Marcus asked. "Life's too short to play it safe, Jake." He was right. I knew he was right. But knowing something and having the courage to act on it are two very different things. Then came the Friday that changed everything. A day that, mid-September, one of those evenings where the temperature drops fast once the sun goes down. Caspian had helped me pick up some lumber for a project, riding in my truck with the windows down, singing off-key to whatever came on the radio. We'd grabbed dinner at this hole-in-the-wall Mexican place we both loved, and I'd driven him back to where his car was parked at the hardware store. We sat there in the parking lot, engine running, heat blasting because it had gotten cold. We were talking about nothing important, just the easy conversation of two people who'd gotten comfortable with each other. But there was something else there too, this tension that had been building for weeks, thick enough to touch. "I should go," Caspian said, but he didn't move. "Yeah," I agreed, but I didn't want him to. We sat there in silence for a moment, and then he turned to me. "Jake," he said, and my name in his mouth sounded like a question and an answer all at once. I don't know who moved first. Maybe we both did. But suddenly we were kissing, and it was nothing like I'd imagined and everything I'd hoped for. His hand was on my jaw, my fingers tangled in his hair, and the whole world narrowed down to just us, just this moment, just the way he tasted like lime and salt from the margaritas we'd had with dinner. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he laughed, this breathless, delighted sound. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," he admitted. "Me too," I said. "God, me too." We kissed again, softer this time, sweeter. When we finally pulled apart, we were both grinning like fools. "I really do have to go," he said. "Early morning tomorrow, but Jake, this, us, I want this." "Me too," I said again, because apparently that's all my brain could manage. He opened the door, climbed out, then leaned back in. "I'll call you tomorrow." "You better," I said. He grinned, started to walk away, then jogged back to his car. I sat there watching him drive off, touching my lips, feeling like I'd just stepped into a different version of my life, one that was brighter and fuller, and finally right. It wasn't until I got home that I realized his jacket was still in my truck. The sage green canvas one he'd been wearing but had taken off during dinner. I texted him, "You left your jacket." His reply came fast. "I know. I'll get it next time I see you." Next time came the following day, and the day after that, and the day after that. The jacket stayed in my truck, and Caspian kept saying he'd grab it next time, but next time turned into an inside joke between us. The jacket became this talisman, this excuse, this promise that there would always be a next time. We spent September falling into each other. I met his friends, he met mine. We worked on the cabin together on weekends, and slowly I started leaving things there. A toothbrush, a change of clothes, tools in the shed. He started keeping coffee at his place that I liked, the dark roast I preferred over his lighter blend. We didn't talk about what we were doing, this gradual intertwining of our lives. We just did it naturally, like water finding its level. October came, and with it the first real cold snap. We were at the cabin, working on insulating the attic, when Caspian stopped mid-sentence and looked at me. "Move in with me," he said. I almost dropped the insulation I was holding. "What?" "Move in with me. Here. I know it's fast. I know we've only been together for like 6 weeks, but Jake, I wake up and the first thing I think about is you. I go to sleep wishing you were next to me. This place, it's home, but it's not complete without you in it." My heart was pounding. Every logical part of my brain was screaming that it was too soon, too fast, too risky. But my heart knew better. "Okay," I said. "Okay." He looked stunned, like he'd expected me to need convincing. "Okay," I repeated, grinning. "Yes, I'll move in with you." He crossed the attic in 2 steps and kissed me, and we both ended up covered in pink insulation fibres, laughing and kissing and planning a future that felt solid as the beams holding up the roof above us. That was 3 weeks ago. I've been slowly moving my stuff up here, and the cabin is starting to feel like ours instead of just his. This morning, I was packing up the last boxes at my apartment when I realised the jacket was still in my truck, still draped across the passenger seat where it's been since September. I picked it up, held it, breathed in the scent that's faded but still there. This jacket has been a passenger on every drive, every trip to the hardware store, every journey between my old life and my new one. It's been there through every doubt, every moment of joy, every morning when I woke up and couldn't quite believe this was real. I'm standing in the cabin now, Caspian's making coffee in the kitchen, and I'm holding his jacket. "Hey," I call out, "I found something that belongs to you." He comes around the corner, sees what I'm holding, and grins. "My jacket!" I wondered where that went. "Liar," I say, laughing. "It's been in my truck since September. You knew exactly where it was." He walks over, takes the jacket from my hands, but instead of putting it on, he drapes it over both of us, pulling me close. "I left it there on purpose," he admits. "That first night, after we kissed, I wanted an excuse to see you again, and then it became this thing, you know? A reminder that I was choosing to leave part of myself with you, that I trusted you with it." I kiss him, soft and slow, tasting coffee and morning and home. "You can have it back now," I murmur against his lips. "I don't need excuses anymore. Keep it," he says. "It looks better in your truck anyway. Besides, I've got plenty of other things here now, like you." The jacket stays in my truck. Some things are too perfect to change, but now when I climb into the driver's seat and catch that faded scent of cologne and autumn, I'm not holding on to a ghost. I'm carrying a reminder of the moment everything changed, the night I was brave enough to kiss the boy with the sea glass eyes and the name like a fairy tale. And every evening I drive home to him, to us, to the life we're building together in a cabin in the mountains where the aspens turn gold and the air smells like pine and possibility. The jacket stays because some things are meant to be kept, treasured, remembered. Not as what was, but as what led us here, to this moment, to this love, to this home we're creating one day at a time. Total char count, 15,847.